manifestation, love, and transformation. It's all right here. Leading authors, speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs with stories and messages to support your well-being, let alone your most evocative dreams.
Hey, it's another groovy day, and there's a couple of reasons for that, and I'll just share them with you. One, it's Life Mastery Radio Day. Yay, my most favorite day of the week. I get to hang out with some really cool people that are on the cutting edge of technology and how we show up in the world and what can make a big difference in that way we show up in the world. And secondly, it's a groovy day. Always, when I get up in the morning, I say, today's going to be groovy, and I start my day out that way. And if anything else happens, I always think back, I started out feeling groovy, and it was going to be a groovy day, so I can deal with this and still make it even more groovier. So that's why the two reasons that today is an awesome day. And did I mention I get to hang out with one of my really cool friends, Jackie Bailey? She's pretty cool. Yay, there's Jackie. Before we get started, as always, I'd like to get myself centered and situated and organized and ready for some great content. We have some really cool stuff coming your way, some really cool technology that will help you and your life mastery journey be a success. But let's just take a minute, and I want you to think about what it is that you connect to that gives you power. What is it you think about? What is it? It could be God. It could be Allah. It could be the dude. It could be the tree outside your office. It could be just about anything. But think about that for a minute, and let's take in a deep breath. And then just let that breath out with a big ah, and let your essence flow up through your heart center, throat chakra, out of your speaker box and out into the universe. Let's do that one more time. But this time, think about your dreams, visions, and goals. What is it that you aspire to be, do, or have? Anchor those in with a deep breath. And out with a big ah, and let those dreams flow right up out your speaker box into the universe. And here's the deal. Provide the universe the opportunity to make those come true for you. That means you got to do something, take some action. And we have some great action for you to take today. There we go. Hi, Jackie. How are you today, my friend?
I am.
It's Tuesday.
Thank you.
It's one of my favorite days.
Yay. Except for our guest, it's Wednesday, but it's Tuesday for us.
Oh, yeah. She's a time traveler. She's ahead of us.
Traveler. And you were saying that we got to take action to make our goals come true. But I'm finding that for me, I need to surrender. I have been part of this mindset where it's like, I got to check off the boxes. I got to keep going. And I'm finding that that's not necessarily always the best for me. It might be for other people, but for me, I'm finding that I have to learn to step back and let things be, let things happen on their own. So there's some part of that that's a surrender.
There's a spiritual teaching about that. It's called detaching from outcomes. We create that vision of what it is that we want to manifest in our lives, and then we have to detach from it because it's either going to be that or something better. Right. That's the way that works. But a lot of people do get attached to that. It's got to be just like this. And well, in public speaking, we're both public speakers. We're in the very beginning, we become attached to every word, and it has to be said just like this in order for the audience to get it. And that's not true. It just
and sometimes we get upset if we forget to say what we were going to say.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot to tell them that. Oh,
but the reality is sometimes that part that we didn't say was the least necessary part of our message. Now, what we did say, we need to focus on what we did say, because what we did say was what the audience needed to hear. And again, that's part of that surrendering, right? Is we get so tied up in this is what I need to say, but we don't let ourselves be open to actually speak from our heart instead of what's memorized in our head. Right?
Speak from that home place is what Gail Larson would say. Transformational speaking. She's a pretty cool lady.
Yeah. By the way, did you see the keynote for the opening of Toastmasters International Conference yesterday?
I did not.
You need to go back and watch that. Really good. Renee I can't remember how to say her last name. Beden Casa or something like that. It's just ultimate athlete, and she was a wonderful presenter. She was a
Wow.
Toastmaster a long time ago, and her keynote was right on. I loved every minute of it.
Was she the
So,
Golden Gavel winner or just the
no,
opener?
no, just the opening keynote.
I'll have to check it out. Cool.
Yeah.
How's things in the little schoolhouse?
We're doing good here at the Speak Feedly
Somebody
Project.
is waning for my attention. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Some little furry person. Yeah.
There he is. He says,
Hey,
"What are you doing?" It's little Rook.
He's not getting any bigger. Is he full size already?
No. He's actually doubled in size.
Is he?
No, he's what, 14 weeks now?
Okay.
He's pretty cool, but he's getting to that point now where he's not so reliant on me. And so he disappears for long periods of time. And I'm not quite used to that. It's like, what is that little bugger up to? Where is he? What's he doing? And he's just off playing by himself. So
yeah,
it's kind of cool. But back to your schoolhouse. What's going on with the kiddos?
Hey, we've got lots of things going on. We are putting together a compilation book for 40 of our students to be part of. We're going to give them each their own chapter, and they can write in this chapter whatever they'd like. It could be a fictional story they've created, or it might be some informational speech they want to share about something that's really important to them. It could be about an experience they've had in life that inspired them to keep going or whatever. If they're a poet, maybe they want to share with us some of the poems they've written. They have full range to share what they would like to in their chapter. And yet it's going to cost us some money. So we are asking for help. Each of the students are going to try to raise some of their own funds, but it's about $500 per student. And I know that we've got some students who aren't going to be able to do that. So we're asking for help and support. If any of you out there feel inclined to help a child aged 10 to 20 have their voice and use it in a different and exciting way for them. I mean, think about how exciting it would have been if you were 10 years old and you were a published author before you even got to middle school. I mean, wouldn't that have been really life-changing for you?
I remember my girls going through elementary school, and there was a point where they created their own book and had it, printed. And oh man, that was a big deal, Jackie.
Oh yeah.
This was huge. So I can just imagine what it's going to be like for these kids to craft a story.
We got to pay the publishing company and the editor and the designer. So there's some costs associated with it, but we hope to have this done by the end of this year. And so it's
where can
in the
people find out
process,
more?
it's in the works, and we could use your support. And you can go to speakfeedly.org and make a donation and see what your good works can do for these kids.
Very cool. More news at 11.
That's
Keep us
right.
posted. I want to remind our listeners that today's show page is at www.lifemasteryradio.net or .com, whichever one you prefer. And you can go there. Any links that we talk about today, or the links to our guest, are there for sure. You're definitely going to want to go there with that. And while you're there, sign up for the newsletter. Jackie sends out a newsletter once a week. It highlights who's been on the show, who's coming on the show, and she creates a blog post about every show of what she gets from it. And I'm always blown away when I read that. It's, how did she get that out of that? That's pretty cool. So then I have to go back and watch the show so I know what it was that she picked up on. It's pretty cool stuff. While you're there, you can check out both of our books. And that's about all I can remember. Did I forget anything?
I think that's pretty good. It's really easy to sign up for our newsletter. All you have to do is take out your smartphone and type in 22828, and then text Life Mastery Radio into that number, and you'll get an immediate response. All you need to do is add your email and possibly your phone number if you want to, but you don't have to. And then all of a sudden you're just subscribed to the newsletter and you'll start getting it.
That's all we use that email address for. So don't worry about getting spam from us. It's just cool information about our cool guests and the cool show. So check it out.
Yay.
Okay, so talk about creating a groovy day. Our guest created an app that does exactly that. You can spend 3 minutes at the beginning of the day and everything is just like, it lights it up.
6 hours of effect from 3 minutes. I mean, that's a pretty...
Take it away, Jackie. This is your guest, and I think you have an introduction.
I do, and I'm so excited to have with us today Kim Serafini. She is much loved executive coach. She's a business advisor, the inventor of Lethos Therapy, which I can't wait to talk a little bit about, and best-selling author, world-class keynote speaker, and an angel investor. As founder and CEO of Positive Prime, which is a health and edutech company, Kim's leading new trends in health and wellness, self-care, and technological solutions, products, and services. Kim is the world leader in the science of positive priming, which accelerates learning, development, performance, engagement, improved mental health, resilience, innovation, and creativity. Does it get better? Kim Serafini has interviewed many of the world's highest profile business leaders, acclaimed scientists, and the most famous self-help gurus imaginable. She is devoted to helping others make significant, long-lasting, rapid, and successful changes. She's the author of 2 books, I Am Grateful for Life and I'm Grateful for You. 10% of all sales revenue from her books is devoted to the I Am Grateful Philanthropic Fund, to be used to assist voluntary organizations to continue their important work within their community. Kim has lived and worked in over 5 regions of the world, including the UK, Europe, USA, Australia, and Asia. She has enthusiastically visited 22 countries and many US states. She loves traveling, exploring new cultures and ideas, while affectionately sharing her philosophy of positivity, living up to her title of the Queen of Gratitude. She is awesome. Please welcome Kim Serafini to Life Mastery Radio.
Yay.
Thank you, Jackie and Todd. What an honor, privilege, and pleasure it is to be here. And hello, everybody. I'm still incredibly.
I'm still trying to soak in that introduction. I was just like, oh my gosh.
I know, and there would be so much more I could say.
I was thinking to myself, that's just the most beautiful, very generous way to introduce me. Wow, am I really that? Yeah.
Yes, you are.
And for everybody who's listening and viewing, so are you. Truly extraordinary, unique and precious, special and amazing. You are loved, loving, and lovable.
So, cool. Kim, have you always been this positive person, or are there events in your life that made it necessary for you to be a little more positive?
Short answer, absolutely not. And I think I'm only 1/10 of the way there. So I'm evolving and growing and developing. And when people ask me, what are you really up to? Honestly, nothing less than peace on this earth. And I really believe that it's about a genuine and sincere peacefulness within, where we're not warring with ourselves, where we don't have that inner voice that is a self-critic, but rather a cheerleader within, and we're bursting with vibrancy and we're feeling effervescent. And absolutely not. Was I always this way? I've been relatively cheerful most of my life. I've been blessed, absolutely no doubt about it. I grew up in Papua New Guinea, which is on the equator, north of Australia. The people look a little bit like Fijians. Most people know what an Indigenous Fijian looks like. And my actual environment that I existed in looked very much like French Polynesia. I know people have these images of paradise being Bora Bora. I actually grew up there. I was born there and grew up there. Wow. And so I have this equatorial DNA and I have a penchant for paradise.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. And so do you have siblings?
I do actually. I have a great brother. We've got an awesome relationship. He's a fine man, a great father of 4 children. He was an elite athlete, and now he manages a huge manufacturing organization. And he's a real inspiration to me, actually. And funny you should bring him up. So this is a bit like, whoa, serendipity and synchronicity. And
You're on Life Mastery Radio, man.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Todd, your introduction made me think, yeah, these are my people, and we're on the same page. This is the playground, right? And Jackie, I have a little comment about surrendering and letting go, if you like.
Go for it.
We give permission. I live in the world of and I believe that you can actually be in action purposefully with intention and also be in a state of surrendering and letting go. And a lot of people believe that they're mutually exclusive. So taking massive action and being proactive and also stepping back every now and again means that you can do a dance. And I was actually talking about abundance yesterday, and I was,
that's
telling everybody that I go to like Justin Timberlake's I've got this feeling like video clip, because there's this groovy, dancing in it. It makes me feel brighter.
Totally.
And so, when I'm dancing, there is this incredible freeness, like this, it's a freeing activity for me, and it reminds me to move. And that's actually the energy and the vibration of abundance, when you can actually be free and just be in joy and have a little groovy dance to yourself. Quite frankly, that is the expression that then meets in waveform the abundance that most of us are wanting, an abundance of creative ideas, an abundance of connections that are meaningful and rewarding, an abundance of financial blessings, whatever it is that you want an abundance of it, don't you? Abundance of, nutrient rich food to consume. I could go on and on and on. And so back to the question, have I always been like this? Look, for those of you who are listening or watching, actually, I should draw attention to this. There's a bit of an elephant in the room, isn't there? Yeah. See, I
thought it was a flower.
This is actually a dressing. The doctor put it on. I can't apply any pressure. I thought about doing a bow or putting a hat on. Down here in Australia, they're hyper vigilant about skin cancers. And so at the very maybes moment, the doctors actually do what is really responsible, and I've had a biopsy. And I'm sure it's going to be all fine, even though I've now got a little hole in my head, and this is like quite ugly, and I've got lots of other appearances and lots of other
I would have never known. I thought it was a flower. I would have never even known it.
That's so cute. What I won't do, because it's winter, is actually show you the scar on my chest of where my cardiac pacemaker was implanted this time last year, actually in August of last year. So I went through a couple of years. I went through a couple of years where none of the specialists could actually figure out what was going on. And even after I'd been into a cardiac MRI machine, and they had determined that my heart, in terms of its structure and its function and the electrical mechanisms, it was absolutely perfect. There was zero wrong with my heart, nothing. And they couldn't understand why. I'd actually had 6 episodes to that date. And they implanted a little thing that looks like a USB stick into my chest with something that felt like a nail gun. It was like, oh, gosh, that hurt. But it was inside, and I had a little clicker, and every time I felt one of these symptoms, the messages would go via Wi-Fi after, to the hospital and so forth. So what they were noticing was that my heart was stopping, stop. And on the 6th occasion, and there were many, many, many minor occasions over the space of a couple of years, it was over 20 seconds. And longer than 10 seconds, and you start to get into real trouble, because perfusion stops. And perfusion, of course, is what we need in terms of the oxygenated, nutrient-rich blood swirling around the body and, quite frankly, keeping all of your organs and systems alive. And so we were starting to enter into that territory where there's irreversible damage to kidneys and livers and I could go on and on and on. And I came back alive. So the truth is, I have actually had 6 near-death experiences. And for what it's worth, it was really, really, really peaceful. And I didn't know I'd gone. So had I not come back alive, i.e. hadn't my heart not actually started again on its own, and I've got a little theory about that, I wouldn't have known that I had gone completely unconscious. There was physical evidence that I had gone completely unconscious, and that's not so pretty to talk about. But what I can tell you about is that I know that you are really, really, really necessary and important. And so am I. And that's why we live and get to live. I think a lot of us have these sliding door moments where it could have gone either way. And I did some really dumb things in my teens and 20s, like jumping off cliffs. And I didn't, get hurt, which is just a miracle. And so I think back to all of the things that we've done where, quite frankly, if you're here, you're meant to be.
Yeah.
And I believe that we get to experience more joy when we're contributing more to others in a way that literally allows growth to happen. I'll go back a little step. I graduated from business school. I went to London. I had a very successful, very impressive career as a change management consultant in the corporate world, working in mergers and acquisitions. And I thought I was pretty fancy, actually.
Sounds
I was
like
quite
it.
arrogant. I was a bright young thing, and I was ambitious and dynamic. And I'd already come across Anthony Robbins' cassette programs. And so I was on fire. And then a couple of years into my career, I'm off doing, Life Mastery University, and I'm in Hawaii, and my parents had thought I was in a cult, and that's okay. It got really, really a lot more like, what is she doing with her life, when I decided to leave the corporate world? And I think that it was Tony Robbins who said from stage, you should make your vacation your vocation if you really want juiciness in your life. And I was like exhausted, traveling back and forth in these mergers and acquisitions between London and New York. And there was like zero joy in my life. And I kind of felt like my work was not significant. I mean, here I was doing these amazing integrations with tens of thousands of employees in these large organizations. And quite frankly, we were all just numbers.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that anymore. Anyway, so I decided to go back and study, and voila, a little while later, I become an official sports therapist. So I basically studied and graduated in osteopathy and exercise physiology. And then I really wanted to be an entrepreneur. In Papua New Guinea, my Italian grandfather had gone there basically as one of the very first white people, and he had created these businesses, some of which involve Schweppes and Pepsi and the manufacturing of sugary drinks, which is not very cool these days, and distributed it throughout the Pacific and Southeast Asia. But anyway, there was this entrepreneurial spirit within me, within my DNA, and now was the time I was going to express it. Little did I know that that roller coaster was going to, at some times, be hell over the next 20 years. We're here now, and I will tell you that I've learned some pretty profound lessons along the way, one of which is we actually get to choose whether we learn our lessons the hard way or the easy way, right? We actually do get to decide, as we express, like you were talking about, Todd, in terms of, the messages that you're catapulting out into the universe, into the quantum field, as if you're flying around amongst the stars and the planets. I decide that I get to learn my lessons in an enjoyable way and in a profitable way. And when I mean profitable, I actually mean spiritually profitable, financially profitable, energetically profitable, intellectually profitable, so that mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, it's all profitable. Because I want to actually, at the end of the day, not have spent too much energy in learning the lesson, or too much money in learning the lesson, or too much of my heart in learning the lesson, right?
Or your time.
So that's one of the really interesting knowings that I now have. So anyway, I'll tell you after
let's back up just a minute. Let's back up just a minute, because you said something that I think is profound, especially in today's age and today's society and today's drama. We'll call it drama. And that's the importance that we all have. Can you speak to that a little bit more? We are important. We're here for a reason.
We are. And
I think a lot of people, a lot of the younger group today don't feel that. That's not part of their reality. It's not part of who they are. They're not coming up with those answers.
It is interesting, isn't it? And I think I was definitely one of those young people who really didn't feel like it was necessary for me to exist. I definitely have been through those moments in my life where I thought it's just not worth it. And if this is all there is, like, it's definitely not worth it. And I've come to know that it definitely is worth it. Yeah. Right. So, you know, I live in the world where positive psychology and neuroscience and these very effective clinically evaluated techniques are now harnessed and poured into this activity or exercise that I invented that we call a positive prime session. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But what I want you to all know about the science and the emotional contagion aspect of, there are lots of theories that are arising out of these research studies in those fields, and they're absolutely fascinating. And I'm insatiably curious about them. I'm even more dedicated to how do we apply all of that great knowledge for real people with real lives who've got real challenges and want real opportunities, and how do we optimize ourselves in a very harmonious kind of way? Because I think a lot of people think about optimization or peak performance, and then they think about these extremes in terms of physical pursuits and so forth. And I'm not there, actually. I train some Olympians. I coach them and mentor and guide them. I can do the same for some people who are trying to be the very best in the world. And I mean, like, literally the very best in the world. But for the vast majority of us, we actually just want to be in this place of centered and balanced and doing our best and being comfortable with that. And actually
knowing our purpose, right? Isn't our purpose? Correct. Your purpose was to train champions, right? So that's where your heart was at. And the champions are here to become champions. They were, rah, 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 rah. So everybody has a purpose, and finding that and getting in contact with that gives us reason to be here.
And do you know, Todd, I find a lot of people don't know what their purpose is. And this is what I learned in sports therapy. If we are not growing, we're dying. And we see that in nature as well. So where there is not growth, there is atrophy. And atrophy is really the opposite. It's actually dying. Mm-hmm. And we are all here to grow. Full stop, end of story. If we don't know what our purpose is to grow. Our purpose is actually
to grow. And that never ends. We need to preface that. That never ends. You're always climbing that hill. So no matter what age you are.
We call it expanding too, right? It's maybe expanding is a better image for some people than growth, but we're always expanding and moving outward from where we currently are, right?
Well, and I also think that the interesting thing about growth and development is that it doesn't presuppose there's something wrong with you and you need improvement, which is one of the things about the self-improvement movement that I think that we all resist a little. We're more evolved or enlightened than that now. The beautiful thing about growth is it's organic.
Broken. I have the solution. It's right here in my book. Right?
Yeah, totally. And so even in sports therapy, when you are growing a muscle, you're repairing a muscle, it's actually a growth process, right? So I would ask that you wonder, and wondering is a very interesting state of being. You just wonder in what ways could I grow artistically? What ways could I grow? Could I learn a language? Could I learn about robotics? Could I actually learn about artificial intelligence? See, now as the CEO and founder of a software company, and it's really fast growing, we actually dive into artificial intelligence conversations internally in our organization at the moment, because we're adding some aspects to our tech that will allow us to have the software custom curate the experience based upon your emotions. And so what will happen is, as you log in, there will be a request for permission to take a very short video of your face, a bit like we do here on Zoom. We allow that. It takes a snapshot. It knows, because
There's
of
a lot of
artificial
information
intelligence,
there.
right, what your emotional state is. And once you actually go through the activity or the exercise that we call viewing a positive prime session, we can then actually capture some data that actually will allow for the machine learning algorithms and deep learning in the tech sense to then provide you content that's more curated, more perfect for you, that will allow you to actually advance further, faster on the journey that is learning and growing and developing and becoming, you know, quite frankly, more spiritually aware and more financially abundant, and on and on and on. And so, you know, the interesting thing is that I was never interested in science or technology as a young woman, and I am gripped by it all day, every day now, right? I am not a programmer and a developer. I am not even a scientific researcher. I'm the kind of person that thinks about, okay, so how do my strengths, gifts, and talents actually meet and marry and mix and create synergistic combinations with those people who have strengths and gifts and talents in these other areas? And how can I be open-minded enough and open-hearted enough just to actually be in this state where I don't know what I don't know, and I'm comfortable with not knowing what I don't know. And right.
Well, Kim, I think this is awesome. Let's stop for a second, because you just told us that you have this technology in your heart that keeps it beating when it wants to stop for whatever reason. And so you're physically this combination of metaphysics and technology. And that's exactly what you are developing for the world. Have you ever seen that connection?
No, what a fabulous insight, Jackie. That is truly phenomenal. Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Groovy
That
dance.
was amazing. I just got all tingles. No, see, and you know when I said see, I've trained Ayurvedic doctors in the Himalayas. So after I basically started as a sports therapist doing rehabilitation, I actually literally downloaded after a Reiki course, and I was using an ultrasound machine, and I had this idea that maybe there was a natural version of ultrasound, and off I went on this trajectory that ended up being over a decade. And I invented what is now known as hot stone massage under the brand Lithos Therapy, like lithograph, lithos, the Greek, the Greek for rock. And I launched it at the International Spa Association. I ended up training over 5,000 therapists all around the world. I set up distributorships in India and the Middle East, and I could go on and on and on for another couple of hours just about that journey. And
it's amazing. I gotta say, I experienced a hot jade bed, jade.
Wow. Okay.
With rollers. That was better than you know what. I'm telling you right now. It was the best.
And therapeutically valuable.
Yeah.
So I met, he's just recently passed away, the world's leading geophysicist. His name's Dr. Andrew White, and he understood the thermodynamics of minerals. And he was the one that helped me to understand that jade and a very rare black marble, when heated at exactly 53 degrees, that's in Celsius because I'm Australian, and it actually acts like ultrasound. And in particular volumetric weights, something that looks like a mango, you use that, say, on your hamstrings or on your quad muscles. And something that looks like a facial instrument, you can use a little bit like a pen. Anyway, I could go on and on. I learned that there was this magnificence, Eastern and Western, ancient and modern, and I became this incredible mixture of ands. And I am both spiritual and scientific, and I can actually exist with both and not be at either end fighting,
But open.
at either end polarized. So I love that. I am I'm mechanically driven for some of the time with my pacemaker. And here's the interesting thing about how ironic. I actually believe that I was the person who needed to go through these experiences and now have a cardiac pacemaker.
Is it a defibrillator or is it a pacemaker?
No, it actually, it's in dual chambers. And what happens is my heart stops, or it used to, and I go completely unconscious. And now it prevents that.
Right.
And they think it was a autonomic nervous system issue. You know how we have peripheral neuropathy? There is actually something called autonomic neuropathy. It's extraordinarily complex. It involves cardiologists and neurologists and gastroenterologists. There are some other dysfunctions in this arena, things like ALS, you've seen the ice bucket challenge, and MS and so forth. And so when the doctors started saying these kinds of things, I was like, whoa, I believe I can cure myself and heal myself completely and absolutely. And that is actually what I'm going to live into. That is actually what I'm going to believe. What's fascinating is I really want to talk about a positive prime session for a second.
I was just going to say, let's bring that up.
So
you have an amazing story, but first, before we get into that, we've had such a fascinating discussion and there's so much more to talk about that you have to come back on the show.
Oh, that's very sweet of you. Thank you.
Now let's talk about positive prime.
Well, because this is what's interesting about what happened. So I'm actually logged in here as a subscriber to Positive Prime, and we'll actually put the link in the chat, and then of course it'll be in the show notes. But I'm going to show you, this looks like it's a very sophisticated slideshow. And it's very simple. However, there's a formula for all of the different images that you're going to be seeing and the words that you're going to be seeing. There's something about the speed, and every single time I press play, and let me just turn this music, I'm going to mute it so that you can actually hear me, and I'm going to explain what you're seeing, okay? So every single time you press play, every day or several times a day, it reshuffles all of the, let's call them flashcards. Every single image is carefully curated. It's chosen for a precise reason. You will see a certain number of what we call Duchenne smiles. And I'm going to slow it down in case it's a little bit too fast for everybody. And you can see down here, it's on speed 1, and it's now going to take 46 minutes. We don't have that long for the show, so I'll speed it up and I'll tell you why you might want to speed it up. And so every single one of what we would call a session, and there's over 100 of them already available, is like an advanced program that facilitates accelerated learning. The actual formula causes changes in your biochemistry. And I'll give you this example. When you see a Duchenne smile, it's D-U-C-H-E-N-N-E. It's a French word. It's a particular type of real smile. And in pre-conscious processing, your brain, because of the way that your retina in your eyes works, and it sees this Duchenne smile, it sends mirror neurons messages. Mirror neurons are up here in your brain, and then they send messages to your endocrine system, and hormonally you start to produce more neurotransmitters, more endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, and interesting things happen that actually allow your brain to function in much smarter, brighter ways. You actually become intellectually brighter. You make more accurate decisions faster. That's all been proven by science. So all of these things that I say, there are really wonderful research studies from, university-led programs. And what we do is we take that and we apply it, and then we test it And I have to tell you, I was so lucky. A couple of years ago, a man by the name of Sean Achor, Shawn, Achor, Achor, he was teaching positive psychology at Harvard University with a professor there, Tal Ben-Shahir. And he did a very famous TED talk. If you Google like the top 10 business TED talks of all time, Sean's is in there, and it's about happiness and success. And I showed Sean positive prime sessions, and he was completely blown away. And he had just done a deal with the Oprah Winfrey Network on creating an e-course, of course, at OWN, Oprah Winfrey Network. They call them O courses. And so he was working with Oprah, Ariana Huffington, and at the time, Kobe Bryant and a few other people. And he had never come across an intervention that could bring about this state of being positively primed inside 3 minutes with a long-term lasting effect of up to 6 to 8 hours. Well, what's incredible about this story is the OWN network and Sean Achor decided to scientifically prove with the research that watching one of these slideshows for 3 minutes does actually positively prime your brain. And what that means is if you're learning and you're actually seeing the content, the summary, the essence of the messages of what you're learning inside one of these positive prime sessions, along with your own name, of course, you're seeing my name, it's actually causing you to comprehend more and you'll be able to retain and recall more. So what's happening is that you're actually getting this state change. And as we speed it up, here's the very groovy thing. Our software has you uploading photographs, right? And as you upload your own photographs of yourself, and you can see this is actually Jackie Bailey's program. Okay, so there's no coincidence that I'm showing Jackie Bailey's incredible positive prime session. And what I want you to know is it's Jackie's energy, it's her brilliance and her wisdom. It's like when you watch this, and Jackie, I'll get you to talk about, the purpose of this, the intention behind it, who the perfect audience is. But what I want you to know is it's like having Jackie Bailey inside your heart and your mind for mindset and heart set work, 24/7 available to you. And if you speed this up, we need at least an hour or two to actually talk about what happens when we bypass the conscious critical judgment factors of the prefrontal cortex that usually prevent you from acquiring new information or acquiring knowledge that causes behavioral change. But at speed, these messages, you can actually comprehend them all because you're taking in 11 million bits of information per second anyway, or all of your senses are. These are planting seeds in your superconscious. I love talking about the subconscious and the conscious and the superconscious. If you want me to explain that, I can. But what you need to know is at speed, you are literally allowing this. This is a state of non-attachment. So anyway, I'm going to stop that share there for a second. And our software actually is so clever. It knows whether your internet connection, wherever you are in the world, is slow or fast between even your Wi-Fi device and your server and so forth. And it actually throttles the way that the speed works. And so depending upon your internet connection. So there are over 17 aspects to the formula. And what the formula actually does in the way that we put together the words and the images and the music and so forth is it allows you to become brighter in your disposition. And I was talking to an amazing neuroscientist a little while ago. Her name is Professor Selena Bartlett. And she's actually very famous at the moment here in Australia. She's Australian. She spent a long time at the University of California, San Francisco, decades working there. And she actually has discovered the sugar receptor sites in your brain. So you know how there's medication that's been created that helps people who smoke cigarettes. There are these nicotine receptor sites in your brain. Well, it's interesting because the alcohol receptor sites are actually the same as the sugar receptor sites in your brain, right? So anyway, Selena and I were having this conversation and she was like, Kim, I can't wait till you're at this stage where we can do some clinical research that proves viewing a positive prime session is actually really very beneficial in stroke rehabilitation. And so they're the kinds of conversations that we have, because what you're viewing is actually not a movie and it's not a slideshow. It's its own thing. It's its own proprietary thing. And when you press play and you've reshuffled all of those flashcards, they're in different orders. From a neuroscience, neuroplasticity point of view, we're actually preventing this habituation tendency that we have. The brain needs novelty. In order for the brain to learn and change, it actually needs to see the information in lots of different ways and in different sequences. And look, obviously I could go on and on and on and on about, so here's, how in COVID, everybody started to learn about cytokine storms, this protein in the immune functioning. Well, at the University of California, San Francisco, they did this research that showed if I put a photograph in front of you and 70% of the photograph is green tree canopy, the way that your eyes process that image means that you will actually have a change in cytokine production. So the proteins, cytokines, and you'll actually get a boost for your immune system. And so a lot of people can't go out into nature, even though we would say absolutely have a walk in the woods or go to the park. Or I actually live in this beautiful property here in Australia. Our home is millions of trees, and we chose that by design. Before I go anywhere, actually, can you see behind me, there are some sunflowers.
Uh-huh.
One of the academics whose work I really admire and respect, his name is Professor Kim Cameron. Kim spelt the same way as mine, K-I-M. Kim Cameron is actually very famous academically for the heliotropic effect, which is all about the way that sunflowers express themselves and follow the sun. And we as human beings, we follow positivity. So back to your point, Todd, about how important are we all? My peacefulness radiates out. And because of emotional contagion, it actually then impresses upon the people around me, and that becomes that viral effect. And we know from the quantum field that that energy is 11 miles across in diameter. So I'm impacting a lot of people the more positive I am and the more peaceful I am. And so I have this feeling that as we have millions of people who use Positive Prime, we've already got thousands and thousands and thousands of gorgeous souls.
Million views, I think I read today. A million.
Yeah. So we're getting there. The momentum is definitely increasing. The beautiful thing is, millions of us, as we become, I think it's more harmonious within, and we're learning more. Because what I should probably let you know is that along with Jackie's content, there's content from Jack Canfield, the Success Principles. There's content from,
the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah. From all sorts of people, whether it's financial assistance and support and encouragement you're looking for, whether it's about your physical health and well-being or your emotional health and well-being. We've got content that helps with grief. We've got content that helps with trauma. We've got content that helps with dropping into your heart. We've got amazing content. So many direct sellers and network marketers, leaders of big teams, tens of thousands of people, have their teams all watching Positive Prime, and they're all using Positive Prime sessions as, really advanced vision boards and gratitude journals, and they're uploading photographs of the people that they're grateful for and the circumstances they're grateful for, and they're uploading photographs of the experiences that they want to have. Anyway, so
let's drill down in it just a little bit, because what you talked about, medical science, serotonin, oxytocin, it's all been proven to greatly enhance our lives, and it sounds like Positive Prime has the ability to boost that. But for the regular Joe, for the regular Sally, what are some of the things that they can expect in their lives, the difference, the change, by just merely spending 3 minutes a day viewing a video? Not necessarily a video. I don't want to call it a video because it's what do we call it?
It's a Positive Prime session. And if it was a video, it wouldn't completely change every time you press play. So it kind of is inside its own player. We call it a Positive Prime session because it really isn't an MP4 file or, it's its own thing.
So what does Sally get? What does Sally or Joe get?
I know what I've gotten, but I'd love to hear what Jackie has actually become one of our featured contributing authors on the platform.
She's jazzed.
Jackie,
I can tell you right out of the gate, she's jacked. And she has been from, well, that's funny. She's Jack. No, that's Jackie. But she has been from day one. And it's hard not to get infected with it.
So I'll tell you what it's done for me. When I was first introduced to it, and I watched a couple of sessions, and immediately I felt happier. I felt more in tune with a purpose. And it's kind of hard to explain, but I was going through some struggles at that time. And this got me excited about something I couldn't really quantify. I just felt better, even though my problems were still there. I just felt better. And as I have used it now more, I mean, you watched one of my sessions, which by the way is in the category for kids, because I created this session using the affirmations that are found in the curriculum I have developed to empower the voices of children in our public speaking courses. So children ages 10 through college age have opportunity to take courses with the Speak, Feed, Lead project. And it empowers their ability to feel confident speaking their mind, to understand who they are, and that they have something valuable, inspirational to share with the world. And the affirmations that you see in my Positive Prime session validate that. And so I created it for my students. And immediately what I saw the first time I presented a Positive Prime session to them, it wasn't even my session yet, but they were on the last days of a big project, which is developing a podcast. My students develop a podcast in an 8-week session. And on the last day, they have a guest of their choice come in to be interviewed on their podcast. And so I knew that there was some nervousness here. It was a big step for them. And I played a Positive Prime session for them prior to class starting. And some of the kids were there on time, some of them were not. The ones that watched this session and gave their podcast that day, there was a marked difference between their ability to communicate their ideas, to feel at ease with their guest in interviewing them. And they just sat up straighter. They spoke louder and with more confidence. It was markedly different. And from then on, I've used it in every class from then on. And now they get to see my own session at the start of every class. And I, even as far as the music goes, you didn't get to hear the music, but the music was market researched with my students. And I played them 5 different songs and they decided this one was the one. And so I used music that they had already approved. So when they get to watch it and see it, for them, they feel it. It's the music speaks to them. The words are familiar. And the images make them feel powerful.
Fascinating.
And it has been amazing. Absolutely wonderful.
You know, I love that, Jackie. Todd, we have teachers who do use it in classrooms. We've actually got some incredible stories that have been publicly, the media have picked up on here in Australia, calming chaotic classrooms, calming children on the spectrum, teachers and their own anxiety. I've got a conversation with a social worker in my mind only a couple of days ago, and she was saying it's really helping her to feel like she can cope with the work that she's doing with, you know, families that are in lockdown at the moment. But back to everyday people, do you know, so many people say they no longer procrastinate as much, and funnily enough, that's me too, right? Yeah, I don't procrastinate anywhere near as much as I used to. Lots of people say they're actually more patient. That's me too. There is actually some content on learning to be more patient. It's really profound. I created it because
I would have to imagine
compassion. Right.
Compassion comes in. Compassion is huge. And some of the research they're finding, that's a big deal. Oh my goodness, Kim, we are just about out of time. We only have about a minute left. Can you believe that? Did you have fun?
I did. Thank you very much. I hope everyone listening did too.
I'm sure they did.
And the link that Kim put in the chat, we will make sure it will for sure be in Jackie's blog. So check out www.lifemasteryradio.net. Sign up for the newsletter or check out Jackie's blog post about this show, and you can follow that link and check it out for yourself. It's pretty cool stuff. Kim, thank you so much for showing up as you. You rock, lady. You're awesome. Namaste, my friend. What else can I say? What a great smile.
Thank you. That's very sweet of you.
I can hardly wait to read Jackie's blog post. That's it. We are out of time for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please tell a friend about the show. Go to our YouTube channel. All of our shows are there. You can check them out and pick and choose which one you want to watch. Lastly, please check out Kim's Positive Prime. Check out
PositivePrime.com.
PositivePrime.com. Check out Jackie's website, speakfeedlead.org, and make it a great day, because it is all about choice. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Kim. Bye. I don't know if Cameron's there. Cameron's snoozing on the job.
Earth to Cam. Cam, come in, Cam. We closed the show.
We're all still live on
we're
Facebook.
all still live. We could just keep on going.
We could.
Any final parting words, Kim, since you've
Oh, yeah.
stage?
Go for it. Go pop up. Kim, give us your last shot. What would you have to say?
Do you know, I am the kind of person who does thank you. And as I'm doing this, I'm dropping into my heart and I'm allowing my energy to expand out into the multiverses. And it's like, thank you to everybody who's listening. Thank you for what you're doing to make the world a brighter place. Thank you to Todd. Thank you to Jackie. Thank you to iHeartRadio. Thank you to Life Mastery. Thank you to all the scientists that have done all the research that I've leveraged. Thank you to my team who helps to bring to life this extraordinary opportunity that's affordable and accessible. Thank you for the creators of Zoom, the creators of Facebook Live. I mean, seriously, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you. Thanks for tuning in. We're gonna end the show. Have a great day. We'll
Bye.
click leave. Thanks, Kim.
For tuning into Life Mastery with Todd Allen, the talk radio show that dives into the science of higher consciousness.